What made you lose respect for someone? When my sister-in-law used my address, I live with my in-laws, to sign up for a formula coupon. We had kids 21 days apart. And she knew I had been trying for a while. So I couldn't use my address for a coupon again. And when I saw it, I didn't comment because what can I say? But she saw that I saw and was like, well, I signed up a long time ago. Not longer than she's known I've been trying for kids though. MAGA. There was a security guard I knew from a previous job and I hadn't seen him in a while. I saw him in public and we made some small talk before he said something to the effect of I don't want to work full time because I will lose my benefits, income support, so I'm going to keep my part-time contract and claim the benefit on top. I just walked away mid-convo. Got a phone call from a regular taxi driver I used telling me my friend left his passport in his car after a night out. He said he'd come drop it to me, but the journey is £5, fare, it's work for him. He drops it off and I pay him. I see the friend later and give him passport and tell him about the £5. He says fuck that, I wouldn't have paid him. Not really the point, I did pay him. So I never invited him anywhere again and slowly everyone else stopped for various reasons. My, now ex-girlfriend was down on her luck and had to buy a car from a shady dealer. It was priced at way over what it's worth and was literally held together by duct tape. I had gotten a decent tax return and my parents convinced me to get a new car that will last me longer than my current one. So I figured I'd sell her my old car for a discounted price, enough so that it didn't seem like a handout. She used the rest of her tax return to get out of debt from the POS she had and I sold her my old but reliable and in good shape car for cheap. Without payment I signed the title over because she's my girlfriend and we live together. It'll be a matter of time before she pays me back. Fast forward 2 months and not only have I not been paid for the car, I haven't been paid for her share of rent, electricity, Wi-Fi, and groceries because she can't hold a job. Very quickly turned from someone I loved to someone who is using me. Never again. My uncle currently has multiple blood clots in his leg and is refusing to go to the emergency room for them, so he's probably going to die. He says he thinks they did this to him. I could walk into the ER but couldn't walk out, and it's going to cost too much. He's worried he's going to lose his job over this and end up disabled, stuck without one forever. So rather than go to the doctor and maybe, hopefully, get it addressed to a degree that he can still walk and have a functional leg, he's just sitting at home wallowing in misery. Mind you, he's got kids that he loves, and at this point he's choosing to be stubborn and probably die as opposed to seeing them live their lives out. My respect is gone for him, and I'm so upset with him. When he told lies about why we broke up. I was on a boat fishing trip with my father, my dad is 50 years old, best friend and his uncle. Me and my dad didn't bring seasickness pills and ended up sick AF, and we were right next to the dock and the dock was right next to a pharmacy. The dock is part of the mall, it's called Souk Shark in QH, you can search it up if you want. My best friend refused and his uncle wouldn't let us go back for 10 minutes and get the pills just so they can catch a fish or two. My dad ended up vomiting 6 times and I vomited once and we caught 12 fish and they caught 3. Lost respect for the dude immediately and stopped hanging out with him for like a month after that. He apologized because my other friend told him that was fucked up. One of my classmates, we were in the pub, just chatting, and he told us a story how he as child with his friends burned a cat. I haven't say even a hello to him after this. When Dream tweeted Happy Pride Month on Memorial Day. Seeing them vape. My married paternal uncle made a pass at my mother. On the day of my father's funeral. He's fortunate I didn't find out about it until after he had left town. Had a close friend text me literally after a week of hanging out together, planning a baby shower and even buying gifts together for another close friend, that he didn't want to associate with me anymore because I'm the most ungrateful friend he ever had. Mind you, throughout high school, no one wanted to be his friend besides a handful of us because we learned about his other side. He just put up this other weird defensive face towards other people. Also throughout that time and a bit through college, I kept a ton of fucking secrets for him so he wouldn't lose his current fiancée/wife, not even sure where they're at now, drove his ass when he didn't have a car whether it was broken or repoed fucking 3 times, dealt with his dumb ass making stupid decisions, even betraying another close friend in the process. After that text, I just lost everything for him, and yet years later, he tried to come back to tell me who to trust and how he didn't like how I was living my life. Man, I laid it on him with every dirty shit he ever did towards his girl, our other friends and myself. I'm not one to fucking meddle with people's relationships, so I never told his girl because I never respected her either. Today I'm just glad I don't ever have to deal with him. Ambivalence and cowardice. I'm a proud military brat, and throughout my adventures of state hopping in the US, I met a kid at the time a few years older than I was. Our families have been friends for 10 plus years, so I've known this guy for a while, basically like an older brother to me. A couple years ago, I was at his house and I walked out to smoke because him and his wife were arguing. As soon as I stepped out, he locked the door and began to shout at her. Then, I heard her get slammed up against the front door. Moments later, he went to their bedroom and locked it, and his wife let me in the house. Her neck was bright red and her eyes were watery. Apparently, that wasn't the first time that's happened. Immediately lost respect at that moment. I love the guy like he's my brother, but I can't look past that. Lots of more things have happened since, but she finally got out of the marriage and took their kid with her. When I took ecology in college, I asked my professor what makes people gay. And he responded, people choose to be that way. I lost all respect for him as a scientist that day. I have a severe disorder and disease in my neck that I had since I was 5. My parents don't think much about it and blame it on bad posture while reading books and playing games. It hurts a lot, and they refuse to go to a doctor. I don't have a lot of money, but I am saving up for an appointment. My aunt doesn't believe in COVID. I have no problem with her ruining her health by herself, but the problem is that she convinced my grandma to not get a vaccine, and I think she's gross. I was 23 when I found out my mom had 2 months to live. She drank so much her liver was failing, it all happened so fast. I got a week off work and went to see her. While here my paternal grandma and her family made it all about them. They would invade the hospital room, stay up all hours of the day talking while my mom just needed some rest. One day I shooed her out because I wanted some time to hang out. This was apparently the worst decision of my life. After a very stressful, not long enough week, I flew home to be met with hostility from said grandma. She took my key to her house. She was cold, essentially the opposite of expected grandma behavior. A month later my mom died, 2 months on the dot. And my grandma is still acting like it's all about her. Like she has just gone through the worst imaginable pain. Eventually she broke down and apologized to me. She reasoned that she was upset for my father, my same father who greeted my little brother and I as the bitch and the asshole when we walked in the door. I hate this woman. She gave me back my key, I threw it in the trash. We used to have a bond, now it's empty. I'm not interested in participating in any of her plans, listening to her complain. I wish I could have years of distance. I don't know what respect she had before, but I can promise you that quickly fell to zero. I feel it's worth mentioning, my mom's mother, maternal grandmother, has been nothing but loving. We all watched my mom and her daughter tragically die, and she has the energy to treat us better than someone more distanced. I overheard my new co-worker tell someone that he thinks there was something fishy about the 2020 election. That's all it took. Then I heard him say that Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio is great and should run for president. Needless to say, I can't trust anything he says about anything / talking down to their wife / girlfriend. Telling me I could change if I really wanted to. I saw a grown man make fun of a handicapped person while giving a speech. My biological father cheated on my stepmother with a girl I had known and thought was my friend since middle school. He lied to my stepmom and said he was going to rehab, found out he had spent well over $10,000 on a Florida trip with the girl. When they got back from Florida, my stepmom, instead of doing the smart thing and leaving him, asked why you left your mean daughter here to tell me everything. You wouldn't have met that girl if your daughter wasn't her friend. Stepmom claimed father was too drunk to know what he was doing half the time, so I was the one who was expected to move out. Because obviously if I couldn't bring my 18 years/0 friends over, it would totally stop him from cheating again. Stepmom even told my boyfriend he could continue to live there rent-free as long as he dumped me. He didn't take her up on it and he helped me get out. It's been years now since I've spoke to any of the people in this story, aside from boyfriend turned husband. Turns out karma is a bitch. Biological father got evicted, nobody knows where he went. Ex-stepmom is living with a man who nearly beat his first wife to death. As for the ex-best friend, she got pregnant with a guy who didn't even want to stay with her. I'm praying for them all now.